Hi guys, welcome back. Tonight I'm making a stuffed pepper dinner. I have 4 different colors of peppers, as you can see. You want to find peppers that will sit pretty. I'm using some leftover ground beef. Usually you use rice for this, but I'm using some quinoa. I have 1 chicken breast that I'm going to be boiling and shredding. I have a bunch of spinach that I have roughly chopped. I found this poblano pepper in the fridge, so I'm going to be chopping that. Some fresh basil. I have some mushrooms, 3 Roma tomatoes, 1 medium onion. I will use some of that to boil the chicken, and then the rest of that in our saute. Same thing for the garlic. I have 3 cloves. I'll use 1 for the chicken, and then the rest in our saute. I'm going to use about ½ cup of this Italian style 4 cheese blend, and let's get started. I'm going to get started by prepping our chicken. So I'm going to put that in a pot with water covering it. Our onions. I threw in some of those basil leaves that didn't look too pretty, and then 1 of the garlic cloves, like I said. So I'm going to put that on to boil, and I'm going to get our peppers prepped. I'm going to cut out the top of these peppers because I want to sit these lids back on just for presentation's sake. So I'm going to just run my knife around the top and pull out the stem with the seeds, and then I'm going to just do that for all of the peppers and sit them back in the bowl or the dish. I'm going to bake them in that dish. I'm going to take out all the membranes, or as much as I can, and the seeds. So here I have cleaned them all out. Aren't they looking pretty? I gave them a bath, and now I rubbed them with some olive oil lotion. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt, maybe about a ½ teaspoon on all 4 peppers, and then some black pepper. You want to sprinkle this in and out. I have the tops there as well. I took off the seeds, and I gave them a lotion bath as well, and then I'm sprinkling the salt and pepper all over that. I'm going to put it in my 350-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. My chicken is done. I'm just going to pick out the pieces and set them aside to cool so that I can shred it, and I'm going to use this broth to cook my quinoa. Alright, so we are going to get started. I have about 3 tablespoons of olive oil in my pot. I'm going to add my onions and saute that along with my garlic, which I have chopped. And then I'm going to add the peppers and the mushrooms. And I'll let that saute for another 2 to 3 minutes. And then I added the tomatoes and the basil. And now I'm going to season with some sea salt. About a ½ teaspoon of salt goes in here. And then I also use some black pepper, about a ¼ teaspoon. You can use as much or as little of these as you want. Gave that a good mix, cooked it for about 2 more minutes. And then I grabbed my spiciness. I wanted to get a little bit of sauce and a little bit of spice, so I'm using some Sriracha. You can use as much or as little or leave it out. Mix that in. I have my chicken in my hand. I'm going to use about half of it. And then I'm going to pour in the ground meat and give that a good mix. This is pretty much just a 1-pot mush that we're going to use to stuff our peppers. Welcome if you're newly subscribed, by the way. Thank you for subscribing. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 cup of my cooked quinoa into our mix here. Give that a good mix in, and I'm going to let it cook for about 2 minutes. I'm going to add my spinach before I let it cook. 1 to 2 minutes, since I don't want to overcook that spinach that's going to be cooked again in the oven. Alright, and so I'm going to add our cheese last. Everything is ready to go. I'm going to add about a ½ cup of cheese. I'm going to mix that in, and then we'll be ready to stuff our bell peppers. Doesn't that look good? Maybe not. It tastes good though. Alright, so I'm just going to stuff these bad boys. I have enough for these 4 peppers, so I'm going to stuff them nicely. And then I'm going to take some of our cheese and I'm going to put it over some of them. I'm going to do 2 out of the 4. And then I'm going to put the lids on. I'm going to cover this with some foil and I'm going to throw it in our 350-degree oven for about 35 minutes. And once that's done, here are our delicious peppers, looking nice and well done. Open that up. The filling is delicious. I'm going to cut that open and show you one of them. It looks good. It tastes good. I'm going to sprinkle some sriracha over mine before I eat it. That's one with the cheese. Doesn't that look good? Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. I will see you next week.